Tonight on Connecticut's news station, we're remembering fallen officers 1 year later. The Bristol community is honoring Lieutenant Destin DeMonte and Sergeant Alex Hamzy. We'll take you to the growing memorial coming up this hour.
And the ballot battle continues in Bridgeport. We're hearing from both sides as evidence is heard in court for the first time.
Plus, Israeli airstrikes bombard Gaza while a humanitarian crisis worsens. We have the latest as the death toll rises for Israelis and Palestinians.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Today, for the first time, a judge began hearing evidence in the lawsuit that seeks to overturn the results of the Bridgeport mayoral primary.
Now, the campaign of John Gomes claims the election was stolen, while the Ganim campaign continues to call him a sore loser. Fox 61's Matt Caron has our story.
Well, today, Bill Bloss, the attorney for John Gomes, began laying the groundwork in what he hopes will be ultimately convincing the judge that the Bridgeport mayoral primary numbers just don't add up.
You know, this is a problem in nowhere in the state of Connecticut other than Bridgeport.
It is an issue because, to some degree, people are hypersensitive.
The attorneys representing John Gomes and in opposition, the city of Bridgeport, took their arguments before Judge William Clark, presenting evidence and calling witnesses.
We don't sit there and go through 5,000 applications and we're not detectives.
Including Bridgeport Assistant Clerk Christina Resto, who testified what their office does and doesn't do with absentee ballots.
But if the voter checked off a reason, you don't do anything to follow to investigate that.
Oh, no, not at all.
And if the voter, if there's a signature on an application, do you do anything to try to confirm if that's the voter's signature?
No, if there's a signature, then we process.
We learned today that not only is there no signature verification, but the city also doesn't check if people are U.S. citizens or have a way of differentiating between the number of absentee ballots sent back through the mail versus put into one of the city's 4 drop boxes.
The number of people, the number of absentee ballots that came in without stamps and without postmarks substantially exceeds the number that we see on the videos actually dropping absentee ballots in the drop boxes.
You can suggest a lot of things, but the law is the law. And Bill can't just make open-ended allegations and think those take the place of evidence.
One thing we didn't see today, video evidence. But the Gomes team claims it's coming and allegedly will show Wanda Jeter in more videos than just the one previously released by the campaign.
Ballot harvesting. That suggests ballot harvesting. That means that there are people that are putting in ballots that don't belong to them, which is illegal.
Smoke does not equal fire unless you can prove it.
We also learned that the Gomes campaign plans to call Mayor Joe Ganim to the stand to testify. We asked Attorney Bloss why. He would only say he has his reasons, and in response to that, Attorney Kennelly said it was courtroom theatrics, only meant to grab the headlines. Coming up in the news tonight at 10 o'clock, fresh reaction from the attorneys as court adjourned for the day. Reporting in Bridgeport, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, thank you, Matt. We'll see you at 10. Today marks 1 year since Bristol police lost 2 officers. They were shot and killed in an ambush-style attack during a domestic call. A lot of people saying the pain feels as fresh today as it was when their community was first grappling with this tragedy. Fox 61's Carmen Chow joins us live in front of the Bristol Police Department now, where a vigil is set to take place tonight. Carmen.
Brent and Sarah, it is expected to be very crowded at tonight's vigil, so if you are planning on attending, make sure you show up early because parking spaces are starting to fill up. But now that we're getting closer to the start of the vigil, you can see a lot of people are starting to show up early, placing flowers on top of this cruiser to pay their respects.
The pain never goes away.
October 12, 2022. Lieutenant Destin DeMonte, Sergeant Alex Hamzy, and Officer Alec Iorato responded to a 911 call, a call they never thought would change the community. Lieutenant DeMonte and Sergeant Hamzy were shot and killed. The news so shocking the world was on pause.
They put themselves in danger every day.
Since then, Bristol residents, the police department, and the officers' family members have found comfort in the large community support that spanned from the east to the west coast. Bristol Police Chief Brian Gould learning a lesson in a time of darkness.
It's made me more appreciative. I have a tremendous amount of respect, and the families have inspired me. Makes you just as a person take each day and just appreciate that much more.
Homes have continuously been lit up in blue. Businesses like Uncle Sam's posting signs like these, opening their arms to all police officers.
Even still, when I look out the window and I see the signs or even just the blue lights everywhere, you still just know, like, yeah, that happened.
Kelly Kay, a server at the restaurant, holds an emotional attachment to this booth in the corner. It is where Lieutenant DeMonte and Sergeant Hamzy sat all the time and were there just hours before they died. Bristol officers still finding the strength to sit in this booth.
It's a hard area for them, I think, to still, because some still don't come at all.
The loss still feeling raw for Bristol resident Ann Munger Crystal.
It's still as sad as it was the day it happened.
Wearing Bristol Strong t-shirts for Thursday's vigil, she hopes it will provide a level of closure for the police department.
I just hope we can find some peace. I don't think we're ever going to accept the fact of what happened, but it brings our town together.
Now, North Main Street in front of the police department is now officially closed off to traffic. The vigil is expected to start in about 1 hour and will last 45 minutes. And Fox 61 will have continuous coverage of the vigil, and we'll have an updated live report tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm live in Bristol. Carmen Chow, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Carmen, thank you. One person is in custody tonight after 5 police officers were shot while serving a warrant in Minnesota this morning. Officers arrived at a house in Princeton, Minnesota to serve that warrant, and a man inside the house opened fire, injuring the 5 officers. Police say the officers were taken to a hospital with what is believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect was also taken to the hospital with minor injuries. His identity has not been released.
An hours-long standoff in Middlebury ends with a suspect found dead in his home. Police say they responded to a home on Porter Avenue around 5:30 last night. They say a man inside the home shot 2 rounds before barricading himself inside. A family member safely escaped the home and contacted police. Police tried to negotiate with the man for several hours, but they couldn't make contact with him. The suspect was found dead inside the home around 5 this morning. The incident is still under investigation. Turning to the weather now, another nice day, another dry day, and we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, we have to. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frayne joining us now. And Rach, things have been looking a little better as we look to the weekend. Are they still improving?
Yes, they are still looking better as we head into the weekend. There will still be some showers out there, but initially, a few days ago, we were thinking a soaking rain, the potential for flooding, and now things are starting to back off quite a bit. So we're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. Right now, though, in Hartford, some clouds are starting to come in. This is associated with a cold front that will pass through tonight. 67 degrees right now in Hartford. Temperatures today did make it up around 70. Now the numbers are starting to drop as we get closer to sunset. And here's a look at that front coming through as we head through the evening tonight. No rain associated with it, but again, tomorrow will be a few degrees cooler. Mid-50s as we are gearing up for the news at 11, and temperatures will be dropping back into the 40s as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Tomorrow is another beautiful sunny day, but temperatures will be anywhere from 3 to 8 degrees cooler than it was outside today. Instead of highs near 70, we'll see high temperatures in the lower to middle 60s as we head through the afternoon. And then later tomorrow night, we'll see increasing clouds. I think the rain makes it to about Hartford, and that's about it. It doesn't make it any farther north and east as we head through the day on Saturday. So some areas will get little, if no rain at all. It will be the wettest in Fairfield County. We'll show you the future radar to help you plan the weekend. Sunday's looking good coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Turning now to the war in Israel. As the 6th day of fighting comes to an end, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken traveling to Israel in a show of solidarity. Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst joins us now in studio with what he had to say. Emma.
Brent, earlier today, Secretary Blinken pledged the full support of the U.S. government for Israel in its fight against Hamas. Blinken says at least 25 Americans have been killed in the terror attack. Officials previously said 17 U.S. citizens are also missing. The secretary says the U.S. has Israel's back, promising to keep military aid flowing. But a major focus now bringing home Americans trapped in Israel. With flight options limited, the State Department now confirming starting Friday, charter flights will begin to help U.S. citizens and their families safely flee.
They're still working through some of the details of that. And I would add that we're also exploring other options to expand the capacity of doing this, including exploring whether it's possible to help Americans leave by land and by sea.
The United States stands with Israel and with its people today, tomorrow, every day. We did discuss ways to address the humanitarian needs of people living in Gaza, to protect them from harm while Israel conducts its legitimate security operations to defend itself from terrorism and to try to ensure that this never happens again.
And Blinken there also commenting on the worsening humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip as Israel cuts off food, fuel, and other supplies. Israel's air campaign has flattened entire neighborhoods in Gaza in response to the weekend attack by Hamas. Today, Israel's energy minister maintaining his country will not allow water, electricity, or fuel into Gaza until all hostages are freed. Sarah, Brent.
All right. Thank you, Emma. New Haven police are investigating a stabbing. A 59-year-old man was stabbed multiple times, they say. Police say it happened on Whaley Avenue near Orchard Street late last night. The man was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say there were reports the suspect and victim were arguing on a city bus. The suspect is believed to have left the scene on a Connecticut transit bus.
An East Windsor resident was badly burned in an early morning fire. Officials say that fire broke out at a home on East Road around 2 a.m. A man who was inside the home suffered burns to 60% of his body. Officials say the solar panels on the roof eventually collapsed the roof in, adding to the issues firefighters were having putting those flames out. They tell us there are no hydrants available in the area, causing them to lose access to water.
Yes, it's just a matter of getting the water here. Travel time from our outside communities to get here is what takes time. We have plans in place for this. It was activated early on. It's a waiting game. We got to get the water here in order to use it.
Fire officials are now looking into what caused that fire.
After a national search, Hamden officially welcomes its new police chief, and it's a homecoming for the chief. With standing room only for a celebration today, friends, family, local, and state leaders gathered to welcome Edward Page Reynolds. Reynolds grew up in Hamden. He was handpicked by a search committee. They looked at more than 20 other national applicants. Reynolds was a chief of police in Arkansas, Maine, and Louisiana, but he started his career in New Haven. He was an officer on the force for more than 14 years ago. He says his family has been waiting for this day for years.
So for many of them, this is answer to prayer and hard work. And certainly a goal of mine has always been in my law enforcement journey to make my way back home.
Reynolds' first day on the job will be Monday. He'll be the first black chief to lead the Hamden Police Department, and he's also the first outside hire for chief in more than 100 years.